integrate TikTok into StreamYard, but it hasn't happened yet. From what I understand, there's supposed to be like certain requirements, like 25,000 followers or something like that, and it just automatically unlocks the stream key options. But I'm not exactly sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure that out over the next couple of weeks to see how many more subscribers we're going to, or followers we're going to have on our TikTok platform to grant us the capabilities to utilize stream key opportunities so that we can have everybody in the same place at the same time. So we got to figure that part out. We haven't figured that part out yet. But it's in the makings because I mean the transition just happened this past week. So within the next 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully within the next month, we should see TikTok in our comment section here on YouTube. So we're going to be trying to get that done. Then we have our Sundays. Our Sundays are where we have questions and comments from the fans. We had a pretty good show yesterday. And the information that we provide to you guys will give you guys capabilities to think about things outside of the box from when relationships don't go the way you want them to go based on the lack of communication between the parties in the relationship. Failures that happen in a relationship, I promote them from a first person accountability perspective, where instead of just blaming your partner for the fact that the relationship failed, you need to start paying attention to more of what you did or did not do in a relationship that contributed to that failure. So, because when you think about the 1, 5, 10, 12, or more bad relationships that you've had in your life, the common denominator in all of those failed relationships was you. So you cannot say that 12 other people were wrong when you were in 12 different negative situations. You had some roles to play in that. So first person accountability requires you to improve from those negative encounters. And that starts with you. That doesn't start with you changing your ex. That doesn't start with you training your next person. That starts with you changing yourself. So we have those questions that happen that comes up on Sunday, and that gives us the ability to uh, further improve left field information that would help you guys make yourselves better. Because the goal is for us to improve your personal life half of the week and improve your professional life on the other half of the week, and that gives you a more fulfilling life. So as it pertains to today's show, we're looking at as we see the headlines, the ground just fell out from underneath every TikTok creator in the United States. Because it kind of hit us like it was a snap, it was instantaneous. And I understand that for years we've been living with this one terrifying question, having everyone fear the future of their success on their channel, where this was hanging over their heads, the understanding of will they ban TikTok or not? Because their YouTube is banned in certain countries around the world, TikTok is banned in certain countries around the world. We were not sure if it was going to be because a lot of the states in the United States were proactively banning TikTok. Now, understandably, even though there was a TikTok ban that started before Trump got into office, some of the bans in some of the states, they don't necessarily have to lift the ban from the state level. There's just not penalizations from the federal level. So you might still be in a state that doesn't want TikTok in that state, and you might have trouble streaming from that state. You and your VPN are going to have to work that out, but it's now not illegalized. And you and I know that, we've watched the political drama, threats, back and forth action. We watched the tariffs hit almost 200+%. But what just happened isn't a ban. It's something way more complex, something that reaches into the very code that decides your fate as a creator. So as of this past week, the algorithm that determines your views, your reach, and your ability to make money is no longer controlled by ByteDance. And every time I cover a topic, y'all got to understand, I'm always going to cover it from the perspective of how does it impact your money? Led company has officially taken control of all of the US operations. This isn't something that might happen, it is happening right now. It is already happening. The puppet masters have already changed. So the question isn't, will the app disappear anymore? The real question is, will my views disappear? Will my followers drop off? Will my content not be received the way it used to be received? Is everything that you have built on this platform about to be dismantled by a new digital landlord? That's what we're wondering right now. We're going to break down exactly what has happened so far and who is currently in control of your reach now, and what you need to do to survive this seismic shift, because the algorithm that you thought you knew already changed. It has been changing all weekend. So let's cut through the noise. Let's get straight to what's really going on. This isn't a drill, and it's not another empty political threat. This is done, and it is final. Signature, an earthquake that has permanently changed social media landscape in the United States. 4 years, we talked about a TikTok ban. I covered it all last year, like it was an on-off switch. You know, we even stopped streaming on TikTok because we wasn't sure if it was going to be there. And what we got instead is a corporate takeover dressed up as a national security solution. So on January 22nd, 2026, new company was formally created, and it is called TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC. The name is boring, but it represents the single biggest change in TikTok's history. This new company is now running the entire US business. It's a majority American owned company designed to comply with the US law. The Protecting Americans from Foreign Advisory Controlled Applications Act, or PAFACA, which was originally passed in 2025. And a subsequent executive order from President Trump that same year. So the whole point of this was to avoid a complete shutdown of the app in the American market. So let's see who's in charge now. Who are the new bosses that everyone in the United States as a content creator is now indirectly working for? Well, let's follow the money. The old owner, ByteDance, the Chinese tech giant that built this whole world, is now just a minority shareholder. They currently only hold about 19.9% stake in the US operations. And that number isn't random. It was specifically chosen to be just under the 20% cap allowed by the law to avoid being labeled a foreign controlled act. Hello. Is that Dada? Hello, Dada. Hello. Now, the real power lies with a group of American and allied investors. A controlling interest is held by a few key players. I tried to tell you guys to grab some of these long beforehand as far as investment opportunities. Some of the tech giants like Oracle, um, and I got some of these guys already up here as stocks that I've been telling y'all for a while to invest in. So y'all see them going across the top of the screen in our 9x16 format, bottom of the screen, our 16 by 9 format. And Oracle is not the only one. There's a private equity firm, Silver Lake, and an AI investment firm named MGX. So y'all can actually grab stock in those if y'all really want to get secondary shareholder benefits from TikTok's progress in the United States. The company that owns TikTok, we have not yet seen it as a publicly traded business like all of the other companies on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. But as soon as it happens, I'll find out and then I'll give you guys a ticker to it if y'all want to invest in that. The rest of the ownership is held by other non-Chinese investors, including big names like Personal Investment Office of Michael Dell and the firm General Atlantic. Think about that for a second. The company that decides if your video gets 100 views or 10 million views is now financially controlled by the same Wall Street and Silicon Valley players that run the rest of corporate America. This isn't just a new logo on the door, it's a fundamental shift in who is in charge and why. So to drive this point home, leadership is completely local now. The new joint venture is being led by US based CEOs and US based chief of security officers. These are the people at the very, very top of the command chain. So, and this is going to be for everything that happens on TikTok in the United States exclusively. So their decisions and their priorities will shape the app that you use every day. And the global headquarters in Singapore and the original founders in Beijing are no longer in charge. All right. Sucks. This whole restructuring was the dramatic end to a saga that lasted for years. And it all started because the US government was worried that the Chinese government could force ByteDance to hand over American user data or use the algorithm to push propaganda. Now, y'all know, like I know, that the only thing that was being pushed through that algorithm was that little girl shaking her behind, doing them little water dances and whatnot. But apparently, there's always something else that is being stated when hostile takeovers happen. Now, while there was no public proof that this ever happened, the possibility, the hypothetical, seen as a major national risk security, the same way they claimed that there was a national risk safety in the United States that's got all of these federal agents running around murdering Americans. And you put the right label on it, you can disrupt the world. Kidnap that man at his house to steal all of his oil, national security. But the 2025 law gave ByteDance a very brutal choice. They had to sell the operations from the US to the US or get banned entirely by the US. So after some legal fights and tense negotiations, the joint venture was the final deal. A carefully built solution that kept the app alive while cutting its operational ties to China. And we had a lot of issues with that because the signing kept getting pushed back because the algorithm itself was intellectual property of Beijing and they was not willing to let it go. So when you open the app today, it's going to look exactly the same. The buttons are where they always been, but the entire corporate and technical foundation underneath it has been ripped out and replaced. It's almost like taking the engine out of a Honda Civic and putting it into a Miata. Uh, car looks the same, but runs completely different. And the most important part of that foundation is going to be the algorithm itself. And this used to be the heart of the matter. This is what will decide if your views live or die. Seizing the algorithm sounds dramatic, but it's basically what happened. Just not how you might picture it. The government didn't send agents to confiscate servers. Instead, they forced a new legal structure that puts the algorithm's brain under a new management. So let's be crystal clear. The source code for TikTok's legendary recommendation engine, the secret sauce where all of the users have found themselves addicted to, was not just handed over to American investors to rewrite. That code is a crown jewel of ByteDance, and they likely would have shut down the app before selling that code itself. So instead, a more clever deal was made. The US recommendations algorithm is being leased from ByteDance. But, and this is the most important but, it's a big but, in the whole story, it's being completely isolated and retrained. So think of it this way. The new American company, TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC, was given the original recipe for Coca-Cola. But now they have to set up a brand new factory in the US, use only American sourced ingredients, and can only sell the final product to American customers. The recipe is the same starting point, but the Coke is going to start tasting a little bit different over time. We've laced it something else. And that's exactly what happened with this algorithm situation. First, the code is being replicated and set up in a new secure environment completely controlled by the United States company. And where is this digital fortress? It's all hosted on Oracle's US cloud infrastructure, which is why you see so many TikTok videos that are telling you go and block Oracle, block Oracle. These folks don't know. Oracle ain't gonna send you nothing. Oracle is not gonna force you to buy nothing. Oracle's gonna charge you a premium for you to get paid. When you stream as a content creator, almost 50% of your profits goes to the platform. Y'all blocking Oracle as a content creator. It's like a protest to keep your TikTok? That's stupid. But that's what they're doing. But this change is critical because all US user data is now stored on American soil. Now, weird part is that if you keep blocking Oracle and then Oracle gives an announcement, everybody that blocked them won't know. And if the announcement is about the user interface, everybody that blocked them won't know. Outside of any app-based notifications. But it's interesting that they did that. Now, inside, they have a system managed by an American company, but ByteDance has zero access to that spot. So the second issue that we have is, and this is the part that hits your views directly, the algorithm being retrained. This is the game changer because historically TikTok's algorithm was a global brain. It learned from what everyone everywhere was watching. A trend starting in Korea, a dance from Brazil, That little girl shaking her booty all over the world, a joke in Nigeria, eye speed, all of that is data fed into one massive system. And that's what created the magic. The unpredictable cross culture moments on the For You page. Now, for the US market, that era is over. Under this new structure, the US algorithm will be retrained and updated using only US user data. The data diet for your For You page is now 100% American. So you're not going to get all of those videos from other countries. You're not going to get any information or any entertainment from other countries. The likes, the comments, the shares, and the watch time from people in Des Moines, Los Angeles, and Miami are now the only signals teaching the algorithm what to push. What people in London or Tokyo are watching will no longer directly influence what trends in the United States. So, what does that actually mean for your feed? Well, over the next few months, we're going to see a distinctly American feed completely emerge. Content will slowly but surely start to feel different. Or, if you're like me, it is really starting to seem different. Imagine the algorithm becoming hyper aware of American culture moments: the Super Bowl, 4th of July, the Oscars, the riots, a new hit country song. These events will likely get an even bigger boost than before because the system is only listening to American reaction. This could create a massive national scale filter bubble. We all know how that algorithm figures out that you like cooking videos and then floods your feed with those. Now imagine that happening to an entire country. The system could become so good at serving American tastes that it accidentally buries international content, making it much harder for foreign trends and foreign creators to break through our local infrastructure. That random serendipitous discovery of a creator from another culture, a hallmark of old TikTok, might become a thing of the past. Y'all know those topless African women doing those African war dances where y'all think finally adult content on TikTok gone. If you're not following a few of those people already, where you can go directly to their page, little skits from different backwater places in Nigeria that was very entertaining, gone. Um, Videos from Asia, gone. Gotta understand that. Now you might be wondering, who's making sure that this all actually happens? That's where Oracle is going to come in as more than just the landlord, because Oracle is the active security guard. So as part of the deal, they're constantly reviewing the source code, running audits, and making sure there are no back doors or data being sent back to ByteDance. So they are the enforcers of this new world order, building a digital wall around the United States TikTok ecosystem. So that 170 million followers on TikTok, that's just damn. So the algorithm that you're making content from today is sleeping in a new bed, eating a new diet, and has a new guardian watching over it. Now it's bound to wake up a different person eventually. So, what's the algorithm doing locally? The immediate terrifying question is more, am I cut from the rest of the world? Someone in Europe still see it? That's a very interesting question. And let's tackle this head on. The true answer to that is going to be no. Your content is not being locked inside a digital US border. The system was designed to maintain global interoperability. This was a key demand to make sure the platform didn't shatter into a dozen disconnected apps. So here's the good news. US content creators can create their content, and that can still reach an international audience. And you'll still see content from global creators on your For You page. Sort of. The foundational network that connects us all is still going to be there. So you'll still see some comments from some other countries that you can't translate, duet videos from across the globe, and you'll see worldwide trends, just not as quickly. The social fabric of the app isn't being torn apart. However, and this is a huge however, the way content is prioritized is going to change dramatically. And this is the detail that will separate the winners from the losers. So think of it as having two layers, the network and the priority. Now, the network is global, everyone is still connected, but the priority, the algorithm, is now local. And while your video can be shown to a user in Germany, the new US turned algorithms tuned to the main job of serving content to Americans first will naturally push your video in the United States market first. So let's walk through an example. Say you, US creator, and a creator in the UK both post similar videos with the same trending audio. In the old system, both videos were thrown into the same global arena. The algorithm would test them everywhere, and whichever one got the best early engagement would get the rocket fuel to go viral globally. In the new system, the playing field is different. Your US video will be primarily judged by the US centric algorithm. It's looking for good signs from American users first. The UK creators video will be prioritized by the global and or European algorithm. And while your video, for whatever it may be, can cross over eventually, your content now has a home field advantage in the United States. The algorithm is literally being trained to prefer you in your own market over somebody from a different market. That's good-ish. So it has two huge opposing effects. On the one hand, this could mean more stable and predictable reach inside of the United States for local content creators. If your target audience is mostly American, this change could actually be good for you. You no longer are competing with every single creator on earth for the attention of your 880 something million Americans. The algorithm is now built to find an American audience for American content. And this means a more consistent view and a more stable count from your target demographic, which is super valuable if you have a niche or a business based in this market. On the other hand, though, your chances of explosive overnight international virality might go down the toilet because those magic moments where a video from a small US creator suddenly gets 50 million views in Southeast Asia might become much more rare. Why do you think this is? Well, because for that to happen, your video would have to do well in the US market first and then get picked up and prioritized by the other regional algorithms, which are busy listening to their own local data. That viral crossover effect that made TikTok feel so limitless could be highly dampened by the current changes. So it's a trade off. You might get a more stable position in the massive US market, but you might be giving up the lottery ticket of global mega virality. Your content isn't a prison, but it is now in need of its own passport to travel, and the visa is processed by a different algorithmic government. So let's talk about the bottom line because viewers are great, but for many creators, this is a career. When a change is big and one of this magnitude is happening, the first question is always going to be, is this going to jack up my money? That's what we're going to ask ourselves. On the surface, the news here is surprisingly good. The core monetization features relies on staying exactly where they are. So what you depended on before, this is very crucial, will still be working globally. The official statements make it clear that the goal was to fix national security concerns, not blow up the creator economy that makes TikTok so valuable in the first place. Because they said it's $1 trillion business. So let's run down the list. All the key money makers are preserved. TikTok Shop, your ability to sell products as a seller or affiliate will continue. The e-commerce system is still global, and this deal wasn't designed to mess with it. However, anything sold on the TikTok Shop now has to have detailed labels. You have to itemize what you're selling, who you're selling it from, based on FDA certifications, FCC rules. So that's going to be a change. You can't just throw up some white label stuff from a no name company. You have to provide labels and identify thoroughly what you're selling, potentially what's in it, all of that stuff. Um, Ad revenue and creativity program beta. The programs that pay you for qualified views are not being directly changed. The payout rates and rules remain exactly the same. Creator marketplace and brand deals, where the portals connecting the brands with the creators for partnership will keep working just as it did before. And other e-commerce integrations will include any links that you use to send people to your own site. But things like this to buy whatever you're trying to buy will not get that negative effect from the change. So that's a positive. So why are these features safe? Well, because these businesses and their activities are mostly handled by TikTok's global entities, not the new security focused US venture. Think of TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC as the security team. Its job is data protection, and algorithm safety. The global TikTok organization still handles the business of making money. But, and you knew there was a big but, you can't change the algorithm without creating ripples that will affect your income. So while the monetization tools are still the same, the engine that brings the people to those tools is being rewired. So think about it now. Your income from the creativity program is based on views. If the new algorithm makes your views go up or down, you will be able to see a difference in your income. So, and that means that your paychecks will either go up or go down with the views. And we could see a period of serious volatility while the new US only algorithm learns what works. Content that used to be a guaranteed hit might suddenly flop, and likewise vice versa. So the same is going to go for the TikTok shop. Your sales came from who sees your videos. And if the new algorithm shows your content to a slightly different demographic in the United States, your sales could change. And maybe your product was a hit with a subculture in the global algorithm found, but the new US centric algorithm was going to prioritize a different crowd that isn't as interested as the original funding source. The tool, which is TikTok Shop, works the same, but the result is different because the audience is different. And this even applies to brand deals. Brands look at your performance data to decide if they want to work with you. During this transition, your old stats might not be a reliable sign of future success. A creator who was a top performer in the old system might see their reach dip, making them look less attractive to brands, at least for a little while. And what about things like live streaming and getting a stream key, which is what we're dealing with right now? All signs are going to point to these core app tools being managed for continuality. There's no indication that access to TikTok Live, follower requirements, or the ability to get a stream key are going to be changing. These are fundamental platform tools. New ventures focus on security, not messing up established creator workflow. So the big takeaway on money is going to be caution and optimism. The financial plumbing of the app isn't going to be ripped out. So you won't wake up and find TikTok Shop gone, but you have to be ready for indirect turbulence. Your content's performance, which drives your income, is now in the hands of a new, unproven, and unpredictable algorithmic master. And this massive change itself is just about the main TikTok app. But there's even more to it than that. The shockwaves are hitting ByteDance's entire US ecosystem because if you use their apps or their other apps, you need now to pay attention because the new security rules also apply to related apps like CapCut and Lemonade. This is an overlooked detail that nobody paid attention to. CapCut, especially, is a virtual tool for creators everywhere. The US Ventures Authority means the same rules about isolating US user data now apply to these apps as well. It's all part of the plan to create a secure bubble around the whole US operation. So for most people, this will be an invisible change, but it shows how deep the restructuring has gone. However, the most visible and potential controversial ripple effect will be in content moderation. And this is a huge deal because for the first time, all content moderation and safety policy enforcements for the United States will be under the direct and exclusive control of the United States joint venture. So for years, moderation on TikTok was a global mess, often leaving US creators confused by rules that felt like they were being applied inconsistently by teams overseas. That system that used to exist is now gone. An American led team who will now make the final call on what is and what is not allowed, what's suppressed and what's not suppressed, and what gets removed from the US users or whatever doesn't follow the current political party's position, out. So, what could this mean for you? Well, first, it means that US moderation policies could start to look different from the rest of the world. The new team's interpretation of the guidelines could start to reflect US laws, especially around the freedom of speech or the lack thereof and American cultural norms. This is going to be a double edged sword because, on the one hand, it might lead to a system that feels more logical to an American audience. And on the other hand, it could introduce a whole new set of biases. That leads to the second major point, the risk of new moderations and biases. And if any of this information is hitting close to home and you guys are benefiting from what we've got to offer today with these detailed walkthroughs, I want to make sure that you guys take the time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have the opportunity, hit the notification button. We give you this information and other information that you can benefit from like this on a daily basis. Now, anytime humans are in charge of moderation, there is a risk of bias. Creators will be watching very closely to see if the new US team treats certain political views, social topics, or types of creator differently. Because with the ByteDance under control, too many different words that look like political discussion would be restricted. Your channel would get put into a dark position. You would see red flags going all the way across the screen. We don't know what's going to happen now. This is a huge unknown. So will the new leadership be more or less tolerant of edgy humor or political commentary? No one really knows. And that uncertainty is something that we'll all have to navigate because we definitely have to deal with a lot of edgy content. Because when we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we talk about the things that benefit you and we talk about the things that don't. And we talk about why it doesn't benefit you and we talk about why it could. And some things might be taboo, but it needs to be addressed. The fear of being shadow banned is very, very real. And a new moderation system will only make those anxieties worse, at least at first. But there is a potential silver lining here, a lot more transparency. So the new TikTok USDS joint venture has promised to provide regular transparency reports and submit to outside audits. This is a critical promise. And if they actually do it, creators might finally get a much clearer picture of why content is flagged or removed. And this could be a massive improvement over the old black box system. So getting a clear reason for violation backed by data would be a welcome change for a lot of creators who have felt left in the dark as to why their content was not being allowed or why they were getting restrictions or violations or warnings for comments and content that was being made. So a new sheriff of content moderation has arrived, and it brings the potential for rules that make more sense in the United States, but also the risk of new bias. Now, the key will be to watch what they do and how it triggers your just what they say. And then you want to see if that promise of transparency becomes real. So we've covered the what, the who, and the why. Now for the most important part. What should you do right now? Big change creates big opportunities for those who are ready. Panicking is not a strategy. Preparation is. So here's your immediate 3-step action plan. First, and this is a non-negotiable, get obsessed with your own analytics. The days of just posting and hoping for a best are gonna be over. You need to watch your TikTok analytics dashboard like a trader watching the market. Okay. Starting today, track everything. Go into the analytics, get a baseline. What is your current percentage of US versus global views? What percentage of your traffic is from the For You page? What are your average views, likes, and shares? Screenshot this data, save it in the spreadsheet. This is the old world. And this data is now going to be your benchmark. Over the next few weeks and even months, you have to watch these numbers like a hawk. Is your global audience percentage dropping? Is your For You page traffic going haywire? Are certain topics performing differently? This data is your only window into how the new US trained algorithm is reacting to your content. You are going to be a scientist now, and your content is going to be the experiment. Without past data, you're going to be flying blind, hit and miss, guessing what will and will not work. Second thing you need to do, and this was always smart, but now it's a survival tactic. Diversify, diversify, diversify. The biggest mistake you can make right now is to think of yourself as just a TikToker. You are a creator who uses TikTok as one of potentially many tools. Use your TikTok to build a following on other platforms immediately. If you haven't started a YouTube channel, probably should start one up. Post your best videos as shorts, create engaging Instagram reels, use your TikToks to drive traffic to your other accounts. The goal is to build an audience that is loyal to you, not to one algorithm. So one of the reasons why we're streaming here from Twitter, Twitch, the For You page on YouTube, and we have the long forms. And we're shortly thereafter going to see ourselves with TikTok on us as well. And if for some reason we can cover Instagram, we might have Instagram as well. We might find ourselves over the next 2 years with 8 streaming platforms. Diversify. Because once you've gotten monetized, each individual platform could potentially give you a few hundred to a few $1,000s a month. But for each platform that you have giving you that for the same exact live stream, you don't have to put in that much work. I can sit here for 3 hours and do one live stream across 8 different platforms and collect 8 different paychecks. Most people go to one job and get one check and go to another job and get another check. If you diversify, you can do it once and put it everywhere and get paid from everywhere else. Even more importantly, you need to build channels that you actually own. Okay? Not just something that you and your homeboy are doing together, whatever. And this is going to be the most powerful thing that you can have. That is a direct line to your audience that no algorithm can mess with. This is going to mean starting an email list or a community on any platform like Discord. Use your videos to offer something valuable, a free guide, a checklist, a discount code in exchange for an email address. An email list is an asset that can't be deplatformed or suppressed. And it's going to be your ultimate insurance policy when you decide to, like when Fresh and Fit went over to Kick because YouTube blocked them, when Justin Tate, when he took his slide and he went somewhere else. If you get contact with all of your audience, if you relocate to another streaming service, your whole audience goes with you. Exactly. Cash streams. A large quantity of revenue streams from a large quantity of places. They call it a multifaceted revenue stream. That means multiple different sources of your money. And that gives you more consistency. Third, you want to become your own source of reliable information. So you don't want to listen to the rumors in the comment section. We had a lot of people that come through this show and put up comments that make absolutely no sense. And I've gotten into debates with quite a few of them about some stuff that isn't quite 100% accurate. They have some have legitimate information that, but there's some information that's missing some details, and I have to reinforce that there's more details to that success. That I'm not going to give you a finished product. You don't have the first tool, and how are you going to get from the first tool to the last thing? That's one of the things that we pay attention to. Third, become your own source of reliable information, right? So you want to follow official updates from TikTok USDS Joint Venture LLC directly. Or if you're getting any information from the Oracle site directly, right? The people that are blocking Oracle. Why are you blocking the guy that's handling your data? That's the person you don't want to block. But because this joint venture will be releasing statements and updating their policies, you have to pay attention to all of the pop-ups that happen in the app about the new terms of service. You got to read those terms of service. You have to really read them. Watch their official newsrooms. Be informed, because this will separate you from the creators who are just reacting to fear and gossip. Monitor your analytics. Diversify your platforms and follow the official news. These three actions will move you from a position of weakness to a position of strength. So after all this chaos, what's the final verdict? Is this the death of TikTok for US creators? No, not really. But it definitely is the end of TikTok as we once knew it. So for years, that single biggest threat to every creator on this platform was a total ban of TikTok. That dark cloud has finally cleared. We have the silver lining coming down, and this is going to be a massive but messy, complicated deal that is, in its own weird way, the very thing that has secured TikTok's future in the United States. Now, the platform is almost certainly here to stay. That stability is a massive silver lining in the long run. And we are now entering a new chapter for TikTok in America. One that is more local and maybe more predictable. The wild, chaotic global algorithm that defined the app's golden age is being replaced by something more contained, more focused, and more American. It's a trade-off. The thrill of unpredictable global virality might be a swap for a more stable and fortified domestic market. Anybody that's trying to build a large followership of American followers will benefit from this, where you have more interaction in your comment section and you have more involvement in your feed. You have more viewers every day. You're getting paid per view. You got more views from the American platform. You're going to see a lot more explosion for you coming soon. Ultimately, the power on this platform is still going to belong to those who can capture and hold attention. So making great content is still the price of admission. Likewise, though, since sex sells, we're going to see a lot more provocatively dressed individuals, females shaking their booties, and guys doing stupid things for hits. How you doing, Battle Zone? Good to see you again. And special shout out to Michael. Michael was in here. Michael's still in here. But we have to remember, though, the rules of the distribution game have fundamentally been rewritten, especially after the past week. So the ground has shifted, and standing still is not an option here. The creators who will not only survive but thrive are the ones who pay attention, the ones who adapt, and the one who's understanding. And those are going to be the ones that are going to be building a brand, not just a TikTok page. The algorithm has a new master, but you as a content creator have the creativity. You still have your audience, and this is supposed to be your business, and you can still be your own owner. You can still be your own boss. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that depending on the type of platform that you have, depending upon the type of TikTok channel that you create, you might see yourself promoting from a basic platform, a little under 10,000 views. You might not find yourself with that stream key. We're finding out right now, as we start creeping over, I do believe 30,000 on TikTok, that we might need to wait a little bit longer to get that full quantities of stable streams, because we've been offline for a while on TikTok. That leads to them giving us a stream key, because sometime over 25,000 or more, you start seeing the ability to just randomly grab your stream key. But until we get there, we have to figure out a way to stream on TikTok and then stream on YouTube. But we're coming here first. We're coming here first. So if you are watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on Twitch, if you're watching us on YouTube, y'all not gonna know. The guys that are on TikTok, they missing the show. But we got to do some like dark mode, underground recordings on TikTok, get some 20, 30-minute live streams going, start trying to, outside of our daily shows here, get the algorithm to trigger the release of the stream key so that we can throw the stream key up here. But as soon as we get it, you'll know, because you'll start seeing TikTok comments coming into the show. And with that, that's when we'll start blowing up with daily views over there as well. And you'll notice that for those people who thought that they control this channel and they're like, oh, let me see if they're really on, you'll find the exact same podcast running live right now as we speak on Twitter. You'll find the exact same podcast running right now on Twitch. Actually, I think the name is up there almost exactly the same way. The username might be a little bit different because we couldn't do it the exact same way for like the this and that on each one of the podcasts, because some people grabbed that already. So we have it up there in multiple different places, and you'll see it on our channel, all of the different platforms that run us. So if you go to that channel, you'll be able to see content there. you'll see the same content that you're seeing on the YouTube page. The YouTube has more of an updated archive. Uh, Twitter is like almost a year ago when we stopped posting content there. So now we have to put our boots to the ground. Now that TikTok's been sold, we got to put our boots to the ground. We got to put our effort into it, and we have to start building it ever so slowly to where we want it to be. I'm hoping that within the next month, we should have done enough for the TikTok USA version so that our stream key is released, and then you'll start seeing us streaming at least in February, if not March. You'll start seeing us streaming on TikTok along with all of the other platforms. So that's our goal for right now, because I gave you guys the word once US got a hold of it that we would go back over there and include them in the conversation. The only way that I can do it now is if I stream from two different shows. You already see the screen is struggling with the fact that I've got three up here, right? Four technically up here right now. If I had a completely different user interface up here alongside StreamYard, I would be dealing with so much lag. I would have to get a second computer or a bigger computer. I don't quite have that $4,000 to buy that computer yet. So we're gonna take our time here. We're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna see how we can get TikTok onto our current platform. But for those individuals that have stuck with us for a long period of time, y'all know, as things change and as things progress, I provide you guys with all the tools and resources that you need to be successful. Um, if in the event that you guys have any questions about what's going on with TikTok, any changes, I'm going to be giving you guys some updates and some insight. I'm actually going to be looking into what the usage limits are required for TikTok. Oh, one of the things I just found out earlier today is that the help section not really usable right now. I've tried. They don't even have a live rep there. Probably because it's like supposed to be somebody from ByteDance, but it's not supposed to be somebody from ByteDance. So you can't really talk to anybody about anything. You kind of got to wait until the US kind of get their feet in there and start responding to the people. So if you're having issues with acquiring a stream key right now, you're just going to have to wait. The way the platform is running at this moment, you can stream without a stream key from your cell phone, and you can stream without a stream key from your laptop. But if you're trying to do it from OBS, or if you're trying to do it from Streamlabs, you might have a little bit of trouble getting your hands on a stream key, and that sucks. But that's kind of where we are with that. Now, from what I hear, the rumor has it that you're supposed to be able to find some legitimate official stream key mandatory agent that operates TikTok that can order stream keys for you on your behalf. But there's a strong possibility that that type of network isn't free, that you're not just going to have some random person like, oh, yeah, I'll get your stream key. No, they're probably going to be like, hey, it's going to cost you a little bit of dollars somewhere, whether you're paying for the membership or buying the key from them. But whatever you got to do to get your stream key, depending on how much it costs, if it's worth staying connected to your network and keeping your platform running the way you're running it, do what you got to do. Just make sure that you're not overdoing it right now while the network is changing. Yeah, I do agree. Now is a good time to hit the ground running with any new changes that you're going to be making to your show, because with a whole new algorithm, you have a whole new opportunity to be the first breakout superstar. But I also know that extra money that you're spending towards advertisement is going to completely change your dynamic, because the way you used to do advertisement was worldwide, get as many views from anywhere. You know, we get 250,000 views a month from Bangladesh, but an American-based system is not going to support that anymore. You're going to have to specifically localize your viewership to the United States and then expand outward. And that may convince certain individuals that are that used to look at your content, that are having trouble getting to your content, that might cause them to log off. So as you gain subscribers, you might lose some. As you gain followers, you might lose some. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to use the current changes to your advantage. As the tides are shifting, you want to get behind as many waves as possible that will carry you into the deep waters of finance. You don't want to drown in debt, but you also don't want to miss a tidal wave of opportunities. So we're going to be giving you guys some updates on this as updates occur. If any changes happen, I'll be letting y'all know. If any mandatory requirements are happening, I'll be letting y'all know. But one thing I can tell you that is definitely a guarantee. After you read the terms and conditions of the app right now, after you accept the terms and conditions, because it's unconditional, you have to accept the terms in order to use the app. You're now going to have to go to your Play Store or go to your Apple iTunes Store or whatever and do a software update. That is one thing that was not stated at all over the past week, over the press or anything. But I can guarantee you that if you have not done it this week since the 22nd, that there is a pending software update for TikTok. Do that so that you can benefit from whatever changes just happened. And then another thing I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you check every week or every couple weeks of any more software updates that are going to be happening on the TikTok app, because as they make changes, you're going to experience delays with any non-updated apps that still exist. So you got to stay on top of the game. Preventative maintenance. Now, what we have for tomorrow, we're going to be doing our dividend rotation strategy for February and March. We're going to be providing you guys with all the tools and resources that you need to be financially successful. We're going to navigate you guys into a more stable environment with your dividend investment opportunities. Then on Wednesday, we're going to get you another country that we're going to be getting into, and then South Korea was going to be next week, Wednesday. We currently have everything except tomorrow on, no, we don't have Wednesday on the show. We have everything else listed except for Wednesday because I haven't picked this week's country. But we have everything until next Sunday already up there besides this Wednesday's new country. So take your opportunity to come to the main channel on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, do that. If you didn't like the show, do that. But make sure that you hit that notification button on at least the shows you don't want to miss. Because while I would love for you to come here every day like Michael, at the same time, I would love for you to come here when you have the time to positively involve yourself in topics that will help you benefit yourself. And then the more y'all to show up on certain topics, the more that topic matters to you, which matters to me, which allows me to provide you with follow-ups. Oh, here on This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we cover 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year, different topics. They're similar categories, different topics. And since half of them is improving your career and the other half of them is improving your personal life, some stuff I got to go back and revisit it from last year because it's still a thing. There's new ways to improve it. And a lot of y'all weren't here 13 months ago. So I got to tell you now. So we will make sure that we provide you with the relevant information, updated information, 2026 information, stuff that matters tonight that will carry you through 2027. One of the things that I want you guys to remember is that since you weren't doing it with me in 2025, I want you to do it in 2026. We need to create a 20-year plan. That's what we need to do. Where do you want to be at in a year? 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. We need to come up with a 20-year plan. There are certain things that you got to do now. It might be a grassroots situation where there's 30 different things that need to be done, but you need to start with one. And every day or every week, you need to pick another thing. And keep doing that. Because if you have 365 days in a year and you accomplish one or two things every day, you're accomplishing more than 300, more than 600 things a year, you will find yourself on the right path. You cannot get distracted. You have to stay focused on your primary goal. After your primary goal, whatever your secondary goal is, you have to try to navigate through that. If impulse purchases and bad decision making and negative fallouts lead you to abandon your goals, where your finances are now on entertaining bullshit, you will find yourself wrapping up 2026 the same way you wrapped up 2024, disappointed in yourself and your situation. And what I want you guys to do is stick with me over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And as we grow, you grow. As we change the way we budget, as we change the way we finance, as we change the way we invest, you make changes that benefit yourself. You don't have to do every single thing that I do. What you need to do is what works for you. You need to see what you can afford and then strategically do your research and take action for your benefit. But coming here every day will give you plenty of opportunities to come up with new ideas and new plans. And let's be real. If you've got an honest to God question about something that you can benefit from, I'll find the answer. I'll stop the show and I will go and find out as much information as I can about your question. And if your question is big enough, I'll do a whole show about it. You know, all it takes is for you to come and tell me what your concerns are. Because that's what I do. Every day, at least once a day, if not 3 times a day, I'm doing research about something. I'm doing research about something that ends up becoming a part of the show that has nothing to do with this show. You know what? I do so much research that I can't sit and watch Netflix for an entire 60-minute movie without picture in picture researching something while the movie's playing in the background. I can hear a comment in a movie. I can see a location. I can hear a phrase and be like, I wonder if that's a thing, and research it. I learn about different countries, different activities, different phrases, callings, tags, descriptions, historical. Did you know that when two people share sake, that is an old Japanese traditional way of brotherly bonding. So if two bros sat at a table, not blood related, and shared sake together, they are now officially family. I learned that by watching something on a movie and then doing research about it while I'm watching a show. If I don't know it, I will find it for you. But see, the reason why common knowledge isn't common anymore is because nobody's thirsty for knowledge anymore. We're quick to be satisfied with temptation, and we're quick to be misguided by hype. People put up clickbait information and we fall for it every time. They'll ask a controversial question just to get your reaction. But we don't look to learn stuff. We don't look to learn things that we can use. We don't look to learn things that we can teach to our friends or our families. We look for gossip. And one of the funny things about this is that when Joe Biden started this campaign, he wasn't doing this campaign for the national security that Donald Trump was doing it for. He was doing it because the people in Asia had an algorithm that was teaching them education, and we've got an algorithm that's teaching us murder and sex. And Joe Biden said that our algorithm that we was exposed to was corrupting our train of thought because we were only being given destructive imagery in our algorithm. That's where this came from. Donald Trump turned it into something else and made it into a business deal. And we covered this when this first started happening between 24 and 25. We covered this. But the truth of the matter is that the algorithm will show you what you're looking for. If you're looking for math and science and you're looking for knowledge and you're looking for research, it's going to show you more of that. If you're looking for entertainment, chaos, sexual interludes, it'll show you more of that. Ironically, you can tell what kind of character a person has these days by what pops up on their For You page. Not right now because the algorithm changed, but the old school algorithm identified a person to their T. The content that they stay on the algorithm for is the type of personality they used to have. Algorithm's not like that now. However, it's going to get that way. And because it learns from over 170 million people, it's going to learn fast. And what it will do is condition you, because the goal is not to entertain you, but to make money off of you. It is going to condition you to stay on the app. That is the goal. The longer you stay on the app, the better the algorithm is working. And they don't have a thumbs down button anymore to get rid of a video that you don't want to see anymore. You either like it or you swipe on it. You can't be like, don't show me this content anymore. Block this. Nah. So you got to really think about what you're doing these days. Now, with that being said, we've covered pretty much all the information that we had for today. And unfortunately, because as big of a topic as TikTok is, it's a very small topic as far as details. Because outside of going into the financial side of things, is how you can invest in everything, which we've already covered plenty of other times before the sale happened. There isn't anything else to talk about with TikTok. So what I'm going to say is I really appreciate you guys for coming. So ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And then fellas, I gave you all this information to make you higher value men. So you have the responsibility to find the things in your life that are inside of your control that you can change, that you don't like, change these things that navigate around the things that you cannot control. Ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, we give you also the exact same knowledge, tools, and resources that men are using to be successful that y'all can utilize it to make yourselves higher value women as well. But you, again, must stop living for the now and start living for the later. Prioritize your future and start making decisions today that benefits your end goal. You want to live a life of travel? You need to find a way to invest in yourself or invest in your relationship in a way where your relationship will help you travel. Instead of just finding the end result by dating a guy that'll take you places for free, find a person that you can get with, that y'all can build up a budget where that budget takes you places you've never been before. I'm going to put it to you like this. You can either be the Aladdin on the magic carpet ride with the rich person, or you can be the Jasmine on the magic carpet ride with the poor person. Either way it goes, you're still going to see a whole new world. You got to find the right one for you. You've got to find the right direction for you. And your direction should not be contingent to the pre-success of somebody else. Your future is your first person accountability. It's not a man's job. And y'all alpha boss ladies need to step up and find a better way to make yourselves more self-sufficient. And when I say that, when you're self-sufficient, since you don't need him, you can show him how much more you want him there. He'll show you how much you can benefit from him. Will you show him the same? All right. That's all I have for you guys for tonight. I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Sander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Oh, real quick, special shout out to those of you that are still watching us over here on Twitter. I see y'all here. And for the rest of y'all over there on Twitch, I see y'all as well. Special shout out to Steven over on Twitter side of things. I really appreciate y'all for sliding in. Look, I got a call coming in right now. I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that one more time. I'm your host, Andrew, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. Just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.